The massive space station floated in the darkness between stars, its lights twinkling like a small city. Ambassador Lisa Martinez looked out the window of the Earth ship New Horizon and felt her heart beat faster. This was it, the moment humanity had been waiting for since they first looked up at the stars. Captain Jake Sullivan checked his instruments one more time. Everything looked good. The alien space station had given them permission to dock. After months of traveling through space, they were finally going to meet other intelligent life forms. Jake had been chosen to lead this mission because he was calm under pressure. He would need that skill today. Docking complete, announced the ship's computer. Lisa took a deep breath and straightened her blue diplomatic uniform. She had studied alien cultures for years, but all of that was just guessing. Today she would meet real aliens for the first time. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. 3 very different creatures waited on the other side. The first looked like a giant lizard walking on 2 legs. Its scales were green and blue, and it wore a silver suit. The second creature looked like a huge insect with 4 arms and big black eyes. The third was the strangest of all. It seemed to be made of light itself, glowing softly and floating a few inches off the ground. "Welcome to Station Kepler 442, said the lizard creature. The words came from a small device on its chest that translated its speech into English. "I am Delegate Zex of the Zephyrian people. This is Delegate Crick of the Chitauri, and Delegate Lum of the Luminari." Lisa smiled and bowed slightly. "Thank you for welcoming us. I am Ambassador Lisa Martinez, representing Earth and humanity. This is Captain Jake Sullivan and Dr. Alex Chen, our science officer." The aliens led them through corridors filled with strange sights and sounds. Other alien creatures moved about their business, some walking, some floating, some crawling. Lisa tried not to stare, but it was hard. She had never imagined such variety could exist. They entered a large round room with a table in the center. The walls were covered with screens showing different planets and star systems. This was clearly an important place where big decisions were made. "Please sit," said Delegate Zex. "We have many questions about your species. The Galactic Council is very interested in learning about humans." Dr. Alex Chen pulled out a small computer tablet. "We have prepared information about our planet, our history, and our culture. We are excited to share with you." Delegate Crick clicked his mandibles together. The translator said, "This is good. But first we must ask about basic needs. What do your people eat? Understanding food tells us much about a species." Lisa nodded. This seemed like a safe topic. "Humans eat many different things. We grow plants like wheat, rice, corn, and vegetables. We also eat fruits from trees. Many humans enjoy bread, pasta, and rice as main foods." The aliens seemed to relax a little. This sounded normal to them. But Lisa was not finished. "We also eat meat from animals," she continued. "We raise cattle, pigs, and chickens for food. We catch fish from our oceans and rivers. Some humans also hunt wild animals." The room became a little quieter. Dr. Chen noticed that the glowing alien seemed to dim slightly. The insect alien's antennae started twitching. "When you say hunt," said Delegate Lum, "what kinds of animals do you mean?" Lisa thought this was an odd question, but she answered honestly. "Well, many different kinds. Some humans hunt deer, birds, and rabbits. Others hunt larger animals like elk and bears. Some humans fish for sharks. In some parts of our world, people hunt lions, tigers, and other big cats." The silence in the room was complete now. The 3 aliens looked at each other in what could only be described as shock. Lisa began to worry that she had said something wrong. "Did you say bears and lions?" asked Delegate Zex. His scales had changed color, becoming darker. "Yes," Lisa replied. "These are large predators on our planet. Many humans consider them good food, especially bear meat. Shark meat is popular in some countries too." Dr. Chen was watching the aliens carefully. He had studied animal behavior, and these creatures were showing signs of fear or stress. The insect alien was making a low humming sound. The light alien was now barely glowing at all. "These bears and lions," said Delegate Crick slowly. "Are they dangerous to humans?" "Oh yes, very dangerous," Lisa said cheerfully. "Bears can weigh up to 800 pounds and have huge claws. Lions are pack hunters with powerful jaws. Sharks can grow to 20 feet long and have rows of sharp teeth. That's part of what makes hunting them exciting." Captain Sullivan finally spoke up. "Is there a problem? You all seem concerned about something." The 3 aliens had a quick conversation in their own languages. Then Delegate Lum spoke for all of them. "In all our travels across the galaxy, in all the species we have met, we have never encountered people who hunt and eat the most dangerous predators on their planet. Most civilized species learn to avoid such creatures or live in peace with them. But they taste really good, Lisa said, still not understanding the problem. My grandmother makes the best bear stew you ever tasted. And have you ever had a good shark steak? It's amazing when cooked right. The three aliens stared at her. Dr. Chen realized that humans might be very different from other intelligent species in ways they had never considered. On Earth, humans were at the top of the food chain. They ate everything, including the things that tried to eat them. Apparently, this was not normal in the galaxy. Perhaps, said Delegate Zex carefully, you could tell us more about these hunting practices. We find this very interesting. Lisa brightened up. Of course. We have lots of stories about hunting dangerous animals. Some humans even do it with just spears or bows and arrows. It's been part of our culture for thousands of years. The aliens exchanged another look. Captain Sullivan was beginning to understand that this first contact meeting was not going the way anyone had expected. Humans had just learned they were probably the scariest species in the galaxy, and they had done it by talking about dinner. The meeting continued for several more hours, but the tone had changed completely. The aliens asked many questions about human hunting, fighting, and survival skills. They seemed both fascinated and terrified by the answers. When the humans finally returned to their ship, Jake looked at Lisa and Alex. I think we may have made quite an impression. Lisa nodded. I wonder what they'll think when they hear about our cooking shows. The news spread faster than anyone could have imagined. Within hours of the first meeting, every major species in the Galactic Council had received detailed reports about the new species called humans. The reaction was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Commander Ryan Brooks was eating breakfast aboard the exploration ship Star Runner when the first emergency message arrived. He nearly choked on his coffee as he read the report. According to the message, the new alien species routinely hunted and ate the most dangerous creatures on their planet. Ryan had to read it 3 times before he believed it. Sir, we're getting communications from 17 different alien species, reported Lieutenant Carol Davis from the communication station. They all want to know if the reports about humans are true. Ryan walked over to her station and looked at the screen. Messages were coming in from all across the galaxy. The Aquari wanted to know if humans really ate creatures like their sacred ocean lords. The Herbani were asking if humans could help them with their predator problem. The Peaceful Alliance wanted to know if humans were dangerous to other species. Get me a direct line to Earth Command, Ryan ordered. They need to know what's happening out here. Meanwhile, back on the space station, Dr. Amy Foster found herself in the middle of a cultural storm. As the mission's anthropologist, she was supposed to study alien cultures. Instead, she was spending all her time explaining human culture to very confused aliens. Dr. Foster, said Delegate Zex, we have received many questions from our member species. They want to understand how humans can hunt such dangerous creatures. Can you explain this? Amy sat down at the meeting table and pulled out her notes. She had been thinking about this question all night. Well, humans evolved differently than most species, it seems. We started as hunters. Our ancestors had to hunt big animals to survive. Delegate Crick made his clicking sound. But surely as you became more advanced, you stopped this dangerous behavior. Actually, no, Amy replied. We kept hunting even as we built cities and developed technology. For many humans, hunting is still important. Some do it for food, some for sport, and some to protect their communities from dangerous animals. The insect alien's antennae were twitching again. You hunt for sport? You mean not for food or safety, but for enjoyment? Amy nodded. Many humans enjoy the challenge of hunting difficult prey. There are human hunters who travel around the world looking for the biggest and most dangerous animals to hunt. We have TV shows about it. This information seemed to disturb the aliens even more. The light being, Delegate Lum, flickered nervously. Your species broadcasts these hunts for entertainment? Oh yes, Amy said. We have cooking shows too, where humans prepare and eat exotic animals. There's one show where the host eats the strangest things he can find, including poisonous snakes and giant spiders. The 3 aliens had another quick conversation in their own languages. Amy could tell they were very upset about something. Finally, Delegate Zex spoke again. Dr. Foster, we must ask you something important. Are humans dangerous to other intelligent species? Do you hunt and eat other thinking beings? Amy's eyes went wide. Oh no, absolutely not. Humans have very strict rules about that. We only hunt non-intelligent animals. We would never hurt another thinking species. The aliens seemed to relax a little, but they were still clearly worried. Over the next few days, more reports came in from across the galaxy. The reactions were all different, but they were all strong. The Zephyrians, who had evolved from prey animals, were terrified. Their delegate sent daily reports back to his home planet, warning that humans might be the most dangerous species ever discovered. The Zephyrian government was already discussing whether to avoid human space entirely. The Chitauri had a different reaction. As former hive insects, they respected efficient hunters. Their military leaders were interested in learning human hunting techniques. They sent requests for training programs and weapons demonstrations. The Luminari, being energy beings, didn't understand the concept of eating physical matter at all. But they were fascinated by human determination and persistence. They wanted to study how humans could track prey for days without giving up. The most interesting reaction came from the Krex Empire. The Krex were known as the galaxy's greatest warriors, but they had always been vegetarians. Their culture was built around honor and combat, but they had never eaten their defeated enemies. The idea of humans eating dangerous predators impressed them greatly. "These humans fight and consume the strongest beasts on their world," said War Chief Brack in his report to the Krex High Command. "They show no fear of creatures that would terrify our bravest warriors. Perhaps we have finally found worthy allies." But not all reactions were positive. The Peaceful Alliance, a group of species dedicated to non-violence, was horrified by human behavior. They sent a formal complaint to the Galactic Council, demanding that humans be classified as a dangerous species and restricted from certain areas of space. The economic impact was immediate. Stock prices for security companies shot up as species realized they might need protection from human mercenaries. Food companies began investing in research, wondering if humans could help them access previously impossible ingredients. The strangest reaction came from the Collectors Guild. These beings traveled the galaxy gathering rare and valuable items. They immediately sent offers to hire human hunters to capture dangerous creatures for their collections. They were willing to pay enormous sums for things that had been considered impossible to obtain. Dr. Foster received a personal message from her counterpart on the Herbani homeworld. The Herbani were a peaceful species that had been terrorized by space pirates for decades. The pirates used trained war beasts to attack Herbani settlements. "Dr. Foster," the message read, "we have heard that humans can defeat any predator. Our people live in constant fear of the pirate beast ships. Could humans help us? We would trade anything for protection from these creatures." Similar requests started coming in from other species. The galaxy, it seemed, was full of dangerous animals that civilized species had simply learned to avoid. But humans didn't avoid anything. They hunted it, killed it, and then had it for dinner. Amy found herself writing report after report, trying to explain human nature to beings who had never encountered anything like it. The hardest part was making them understand that humans weren't monsters. They were just very, very good at eating things that tried to eat them. "The key point," she wrote in her latest report to the Galactic Council, "is that humans developed as persistence hunters. We didn't become the dominant species on our planet by being the strongest or fastest. We did it by being too stubborn to give up and too clever to quit. When we see a dangerous predator, we don't see a threat. We see dinner and a challenge." The galaxy was still trying to figure out what to do with this information when the next surprise arrived. The humans wanted to give a demonstration. The request came through official diplomatic channels, but Captain Kelly Adams could hear the nervousness in the alien voices. The Galactic Council wanted proof. They needed to see with their own eyes whether humans really could hunt and eat the galaxy's most dangerous predators. "They want us to do what?" asked Sergeant Chris Miller, looking up from the message on his tablet. Chris was a former military survival instructor who had volunteered for the space program because he loved a challenge. This was definitely going to be a challenge. "They want a live demonstration," Kelly repeated. "Apparently some species think we're making it all up. They can't believe any intelligent species would actually hunt apex predators for food." The demonstration was scheduled for Nexus Prime, a planet that served as neutral ground for interspecies meetings. The planet had been chosen for a very specific reason. It was home to the Shadowfang, a creature that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. Dr. Lisa Carter, the mission's xenobiologist, pulled up the data on Shadowfang creatures. "These things are massive," she said, showing the team pictures and videos. 12 feet tall, razor-sharp claws, incredibly fast and completely fearless. Most species won't even land on Nexus Prime because of them. The Shadowfangs looked like a cross between a bear and a giant cat, with thick black fur and glowing red eyes. They had killed hundreds of alien explorers over the years. Most civilizations had simply marked Nexus Prime as too dangerous to visit. "Perfect," said Chris with a grin. "How many aliens will be watching?" 47 different species, Kelly replied. "They'll be watching from orbit in their ships. Nobody wants to get close enough to be in danger." Chris's team was small but experienced. Marine specialist Dana White had grown up hunting elk in Montana. Survival expert Tony Garcia had spent years tracking dangerous animals in South American jungles. Together they had more experience hunting large predators than most humans ever would. The landing was smooth. Nexus Prime was a beautiful planet with thick forests and clear streams. It would have been perfect for colonization, if not for the Shadowfangs. The team set up their equipment while 47 alien ships watched from space. "First things first," said Chris, checking his rifle. "We need to find tracks. Tony, you're our tracker. Dana, watch our backs. I'll handle the actual hunt." They didn't have to search long. Shadowfang tracks were everywhere, pressed deep into the soft earth near a stream. The creatures were huge and their claws left marks in rocks. Tony knelt down and studied the tracks carefully. "Fresh," he announced. "Less than an hour old. Big one too, probably male. He's moving toward the valley." The aliens watched in fascination as the three humans began following the trail. Most species would have turned around and left immediately. Instead, the humans seemed excited about tracking down one of the galaxy's most feared predators. "Human team, this is Delegate Zex," came a voice over their radio. "Are you certain you wish to continue? Our records show 17 different species have lost members to Shadowfangs on this planet." "We appreciate the concern," Chris replied, "but this is what we do. Don't worry, we'll be careful." The hunt took 6 hours. The Shadowfang was smart and tried to lose them several times, but Tony was an excellent tracker. He could follow signs that the creature left behind, like broken branches, claw marks on trees, and disturbed ground. Halfway through the hunt, they found evidence that the Shadowfang knew it was being followed. "Look at this." Dana pointed to a spot where the creature had doubled back on its own trail. "It's trying to ambush us." "Good," said Chris. "That means it's getting tired. Tired animals make mistakes." The aliens in orbit couldn't understand what they were seeing. The humans were actually hunting a Shadowfang the same way their ancestors had hunted mammoths thousands of years ago. They used teamwork, persistence, and intelligence instead of just superior technology. "They're not using energy weapons," observed Delegate Crick. "Those appear to be primitive projectile weapons." "Humans seem to prefer the challenge," Dr. Foster explained from her position on the observation ship. "They could easily kill a Shadowfang with advanced weapons, but they choose to use traditional hunting methods." The end came suddenly. The Shadowfang had hidden itself behind a large rock, planning to attack when the humans passed by. But Chris had been expecting this. He circled around while Tony and Dana approached from the front. When the creature leaped out to attack Tony and Dana, Chris was ready. 3 quick shots from his rifle, and the massive predator fell to the ground. The entire hunt had been broadcast live to all the watching ships. "Target down," Chris reported calmly. "Now comes the fun part." What happened next shocked the aliens even more than the hunt itself. The humans calmly began butchering the Shadowfang, cutting it into pieces with practiced efficiency. They had clearly done this many times before. Chef Maria Lopez had been waiting in the landing ship during the hunt. Now she came out with her cooking equipment and began preparing a meal. She had studied the data on Shadowfang biology and brought spices and seasonings that would work well with the meat. The key to cooking any large predator, Maria explained to the camera that was broadcasting to the alien ships, is to understand the muscle structure. Shadowfangs are similar to big cats on Earth, so I'll prepare the steaks like I would a lion or tiger. The aliens couldn't believe what they were hearing. Not only had humans successfully hunted a Shadowfang, they were now discussing the best way to cook it. Several alien delegates actually requested permission to beam down and try the food. As the sun set on Nexus Prime, the 3 humans sat around a campfire eating Shadowfang steaks and sharing stories about past hunts. The smell of cooking meat drifted up to the orbiting ships, and many aliens found themselves curious about the taste. "How is it?" asked Delegate Lum over the radio. Chris took another bite and considered the question. "Pretty good, actually. Kinda like a cross between beef and venison, but with a stronger flavor. Maria's seasonings really bring out the taste. The texture is interesting too," added Dana. "More tender than I expected." Definitely better than the bear steaks we had last month. The aliens listened to this conversation in amazement. The humans were casually discussing the flavor and texture of a creature that had been the galaxy's nightmare for centuries. They were treating it like any other meal. "Human team," said Delegate Zex, "we must ask, are there any creatures on your planet that humans do not hunt and eat?" Tony thought about this question while chewing his steak. "Well, we don't eat other humans. And most people don't eat pets like dogs and cats, though some cultures do. Oh, and we generally avoid things that are poisonous or taste really bad. But if it's big, dangerous, and edible," Chris added, "somebody has probably hunted it and cooked it. That's just how humans are." The broadcast ended with the humans packing up their campsite and preparing to leave. They had successfully hunted, killed, and eaten one of the galaxy's most feared predators, and they had made it look easy. As their ship lifted off from Nexus Prime, Chris looked back at the planet. "Nice place," he said. "Good hunting. We should come back sometime." The 47 alien ships followed them back to the space station, but the galaxy would never be the same. Humans had just proven that they really were as dangerous as they claimed to be. The question now was what everyone would do about it. The video of humans eating Shadowfang steaks around a campfire spread across the galaxy in less than 6 hours. The reaction was immediate, intense, and completely unexpected. Within days, humanity found itself at the center of the biggest cultural shift in galactic history. Captain Steve Parker was reviewing routine reports when his communication officer interrupted him. "Sir, we have an incoming message from the Krex Empire. It's marked as an official challenge." Steve raised an eyebrow. The Krex were known throughout the galaxy as the greatest warriors among the civilized species. They had never been defeated in battle and took great pride in their military strength. What could they possibly want with humans? "Put it through," Steve ordered. The screen flickered to life, showing a massive alien with thick armor and multiple arms. War Chief Brack of the Krex spoke in a deep, rumbling voice that the translator had trouble handling. "Humans," Brack announced, "we have seen your demonstration on Nexus Prime. The Krex Empire formally challenges your species to combat trials. We must know if your fighting skills match your hunting abilities." Steve looked at his crew. This was not something they had expected. "What kind of combat trials?" he asked. "Honor combat," Brack replied. "No weapons of mass destruction. Traditional fighting only. If humans are truly the predators you claim to be, prove it against Krex warriors." Meanwhile, on the space station, Dr. Janet Wilson was dealing with a very different kind of request. The Gourmet Guild, a coalition of species known for their love of fine food, had sent a formal business proposal. "Dr. Wilson," said Guild Representative Zara through the translator, "we wish to establish what you humans call restaurants, places where beings can experience the thrill of eating dangerous creatures in safe environments." Janet looked at the proposal documents. The Guild wanted to hire human hunters to capture dangerous animals from various planets. These creatures would then be prepared by human chefs for alien customers who wanted to experience what it was like to eat a predator. "You want to start a chain of human-style restaurants?" Janet asked. "Indeed," Zara replied. "Our preliminary market research shows enormous interest. The Aquari alone have placed orders for 300 Ocean Lord steaks. They wish to experience eating their former gods." The business implications were staggering. The Galactic Stock Exchange had already created a new commodity market called exotic predator meat, and prices were rising faster than anyone could track. Human hunting services were becoming the most valuable export in galactic history. But the strangest reaction came from the Herbani. These gentle plant-eating aliens had lived in fear of space pirates for decades. The pirates used trained war beasts to terrorize peaceful settlements, and no military force had been able to stop them. Ambassador Lisa Martinez received the Herbani request personally. "Ambassador," said the Herbani delegate, "we have watched your people hunt the Shadowfang. We beg you to help us. The pirates have creatures that make Shadowfangs look small. Could your hunters defeat them?" Lisa studied the data the Herbani provided. The space pirates had somehow tamed creatures called Void Stalkers, massive beasts that could survive in space and attack ships directly. Most civilized species considered them impossible to fight. "We would need to see them first," Lisa replied. "But I don't think our hunters would consider them impossible. Dangerous, yes. Impossible, no." The requests kept coming. The ethereal collectors wanted humans to capture legendary beasts for their museums. The mining guild needed help with tunnel monsters that were preventing excavation on several planets. Even the Peaceful Alliance, who had initially protested human membership, quietly asked if humans could help them with some pest control issues. Dr. Amy Foster found herself writing cultural analysis reports around the clock. The galaxy, she realized, had been shaped by the fact that most intelligent species were either prey animals that had developed technology to avoid predators, or former predators that had become civilized and given up hunting. Humans are unique, she wrote in her latest report. We developed intelligence and technology while keeping our predator instincts. Every other species either fears dangerous creatures or has forgotten how to fight them. Humans see them as challenges to overcome. The economic impact was enormous. Within a month, human hunting guides were commanding prices that exceeded most planetary budgets. A single human team could solve predator problems that had plagued civilizations for centuries. Captain Ryan Brooks found himself leading the first human hunting expedition. His team consisted of 12 experienced hunters and guides, along with support staff including medical personnel and chefs. Their mission was to clear void stalkers from the shipping lanes near the Herbani homeworld. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Carol Davis, "we have requests from 43 different species wanting to observe this mission. They're offering to pay just to watch us work." The void stalkers turned out to be even more challenging than expected. These creatures were 50 feet long, had natural armor plating, and could move through space without any visible means of propulsion. They had been attacking cargo ships for years, and no military force had been able to stop them. "Interesting," said Master Hunter Bill Jackson, studying the creatures through the ship's telescopes. "They hunt in packs just like wolves, and they're territorial. That gives us options." The hunt took 3 days and required techniques that no other species had ever considered. The humans used their ships as bait, drawing the void stalkers into carefully planned ambushes. They worked together like a pack of predators, using coordination and strategy that impressed their alien observers. When the last void stalker was defeated, the watching aliens were amazed. The creatures that had terrorized space traffic for years had been eliminated by a single human hunting team. The Herbani immediately offered exclusive trade agreements with Earth. The cultural impact was even bigger than the economic one. Young aliens started studying human history and culture, fascinated by stories of ancient human hunters. Universities across the galaxy began offering courses on human predator psychology. The Galactic Museum of Natural History created a new exhibit called the Human Hunter, which became the most popular attraction in museum history. Aliens would travel from across the galaxy just to see displays of human hunting tools and techniques. But perhaps the most significant change was in how other species viewed dangerous situations. For thousands of years, the standard response to a serious predator problem was to abandon the area and mark it as too dangerous for colonization. Now species were learning that they could call humans instead. "The galaxy is becoming a safer place," wrote Dr. Foster in her final report on the cultural impact. "Not because the dangerous creatures are gone, but because humans have taught everyone that no predator is too dangerous to hunt. We have turned the galaxy's monsters into resources." The transformation wasn't complete yet, but the trend was clear. Humans had found their place in galactic civilization, and it wasn't what anyone had expected. They weren't diplomats or scientists or artists. They were the ones you called when something big and dangerous needed to be killed and eaten. As Captain Steve Parker prepared for his combat trials with the Kreks, he reflected on how much had changed. "We came to the stars looking for friends," he told his crew. Turns out the galaxy was looking for exterminators. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for a species crazy enough to hunt its monsters. And now that they had found humans, nothing would ever be the same. 6 months after first contact, Admiral Jake Sullivan stood on the observation deck of Hunter's Rest, the massive space station that had become humanity's headquarters in galactic space. Through the windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species waiting in line to request human services. The galaxy had changed, and so had humanity's place in it. "Sir, we have another request from the Outer Rim Mining Consortium," reported Commander Lisa Martinez, who had been promoted after her successful first contact mission. 3 more planets with tunnel monster problems. They're offering twice the standard rate." Jake nodded and made a note on his tablet. The Human Ranger Corps, led by Colonel Rick Johnson, had more work than they could handle. Every week brought new requests from species that had discovered humans could solve problems they had considered impossible. What's the status on the Krex combat trials? Jake asked. Captain Steve Parker won the first 3 matches, Lisa replied with a smile. The Krex are impressed. War Chief Brack says humans fight like civilized monsters and wants to establish a military exchange program. Down in the station's main restaurant, Chef Bobby Turner was preparing for the lunch rush. His establishment had become famous throughout the galaxy as the only place where beings could safely eat creatures that had previously been considered too dangerous to approach. Order up, Bobby called, sliding a plate across the serving counter. Nexus Prime Shadowfang with crystalline fruit reduction for table 12. The customer, a nervous-looking Zephyrian, accepted the plate with shaking hands. Are you certain this is safe to consume? He asked through his translator. Absolutely, Bobby assured him. Shadowfang meat is actually quite nutritious once you remove the toxins from the claw glands. Just avoid the parts I marked with the red sauce. At another table, a group of Chitauri business delegates were sharing a meal of processed Voidstalker steaks while discussing trade agreements. What had once been the galaxy's most feared space predator was now a delicacy served with alien vegetables and human spices. Dr. Linda Carter was in her laboratory, studying the evolutionary data she had collected from dozens of species. Her research had revealed why humans were so unique in the galaxy. Most intelligent species evolved along one of 2 paths, she explained to her assistant, Dr. Kevin Walsh. Either they were prey animals that developed technology to avoid predators, or they were predators that became civilized and abandoned hunting. Humans are apparently the only species that kept hunting while developing advanced civilization. Kevin looked at the data on his screen. According to this, every other species either fears apex predators or has forgotten how to fight them. No wonder they think we're crazy. We're not crazy, Linda corrected. We're just the only species that never learned to be afraid of our food. The economic transformation had been remarkable. The Galactic Trade Council had officially recognized predator management services as humanity's primary export. The value of human hunting expertise now exceeded the GDP of entire civilizations. Captain Sarah Kim was leading the latest expedition, this time to help the Aquari deal with a deep leviathan that had been preventing underwater mining operations. The creature was larger than most ships and had tentacles that could crush submarines. Remember, Sarah told her diving team, we're not just hunting this thing. We're proving that humans can handle any environment. The Aquari have never seen land-dwelling predators work underwater. The hunt was being broadcast live to observers throughout the galaxy. Alien marine biologists watched in amazement as human divers used techniques, adapted from ancient Earth whale hunting, to take down a creature the size of a building. Humans continue to surprise us, commented Dr. Vex, the Aquari's chief scientist. They adapt their hunting methods to any environment. Water, space, underground tunnels. Nothing stops them. Meanwhile, the cultural exchange programs were producing unexpected results. Young aliens were studying human history and mythology, fascinated by stories of ancient hunters who had faced impossible odds. Human hunting legends were being translated into hundreds of alien languages. The Galactic University had established the first department of human predator studies, taught by Professor Janet Wilson. Her classes were so popular that students had to apply years in advance. The key to understanding humans, Professor Wilson explained to her mixed species class, is to remember that they never stopped being hunters. Even their most peaceful activities often involve some form of competition or challenge. One student, a young luminary named Bright Star, raised a question. Professor, do humans ever hunt creatures just for the challenge, not for food or safety? Oh yes, Janet replied. Sport hunting is very popular among humans. Some humans travel to other planets just to hunt exotic creatures. They see it as a test of their skills. This concept was difficult for most aliens to understand. The idea of deliberately seeking out dangerous situations for fun was completely foreign to species that had evolved to avoid risk. But perhaps the most significant change was in galactic security. The Peacekeeping Alliance had quietly hired human teams to deal with several crisis situations. Space pirates who had terrorized shipping for decades found themselves facing human hunters who treated their war beasts like hunting trophies. The pirate problem is essentially solved, reported Alliance Commander Zara in her briefing to the Galactic Council. Human hunting teams have eliminated most of the trained war beasts that made pirate raids possible. Without their monster support, the pirates are just ordinary criminals. The transformation wasn't limited to hunting. Human cooking techniques were revolutionizing galactic cuisine. Chefs across the galaxy were learning to prepare ingredients that had been considered inedible. Restaurants were serving dishes made from creatures that aliens had feared for millennia. Admiral Sullivan received a personal message from the Herbani leadership. Their homeworld, which had been under constant threat from space pirates, was now peaceful for the first time in generations. Human ranger teams had not only eliminated the pirate threat, but had also cleared several continents of dangerous predators, opening up new areas for Herbani colonization. Admiral, the message read, "Our children are growing up without fear for the first time in our history. We cannot express our gratitude for what humans have done for our people." Similar messages were coming in from across the galaxy. Species that had lived in fear were discovering that humans could eliminate almost any threat. The galaxy was becoming a safer, more civilized place because humans were willing to hunt and eat anything that caused problems. The final irony wasn't lost on anyone. Humans had joined galactic civilization expecting to be the students, learning from more advanced species. Instead, they had become the teachers, showing the galaxy that no problem was too dangerous to solve. "The universe is a dangerous place," Admiral Sullivan said in his address to the Galactic Council. "But it doesn't have to be. Every species brings something unique to our galactic community. Humans bring the willingness to face any challenge, hunt any predator, and turn any threat into dinner." He paused and looked around the room at representatives from hundreds of different species. "We didn't come to the stars to be conquerors or rulers. We came to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And if our part in that something is to hunt the monsters that scare everyone else, then that's what we'll do." The applause that followed was unprecedented in Council history. For the first time ever, every single species voted unanimously on a resolution. The Human Integration Act officially recognized humanity as an essential member of galactic civilization, with special status as the galaxy's primary predator management specialists. As Jake returned to Hunter's Rest that evening, he found a message waiting from Earth. His old friend, retired General Patricia Moore, had sent a simple note. "Jake, I just saw the news coverage of your speech. My granddaughter asked me what humans do in space. I told her we make the galaxy safe for everyone else by eating the things that scare them. She said that sounds like the best job ever." "I think she's right." Jake smiled and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there were creatures that other species considered too dangerous to face, but they weren't too dangerous for humans. They were just dinner waiting to be caught.